Welcome back, everyone. Another Wednesday means another new comic book day. So at first I'll show you everything I picked up, and then I'll read the issues and then let you know what I thought about them. Shout out to the Hall of Comics in Westborough, Mass, my personal LCS. And so let's get started. So through they have an online store that has a separate inventory from their physical store. And I did find the 7-issue Nova miniseries from I think 2017 for a good price. So I kind of just pulled the trigger on it. It's by Jeff Loveness and Ramon Perez. It's always fun to see the Novas interact with each other, with Richard Rider and Sam Alexander. So happy to pick those up and add those to the collection. In my journey to get every Compact Comics product that DC puts out, I picked up another one today, Far Sector by N.K. Jemisin, which is relevant right now because Joe Mullen, the main character, is the main character in Absolute Green Lantern. So excited to get into this at some point. And then for the singles, we have Ultimate X-Men number 19. This should be the start of a new arc for the book, which again, with Ultimate Endgame coming, I don't know what's going to happen with Ultimate X-Men, if it's going to end, if all the Ultimate books will end, but going to enjoy the ride while I'm there. This originally wasn't on my pull list, but I ended up adding it last minute just because it's probably my favorite cartoon series growing up, and that was Spider-Man 94, issue number 1. Super excited for this. That show is what got me into the character, and might be responsible for me actually getting into comics as a whole. So I figured the least I could do to pay that show back is to see if this series will be any good. So issue number 1 just came out. I have Everything Dead and Dying, an Image book, issue number 1 by Tate Bromble, who's also currently writing the Batgirl book. Artwork is by Jacob Phillips. So excited to jump into this. I think this is a 4 or 5 issue miniseries. So definitely excited to keep getting into Image stuff. Speaking of Joe Mullen, we have Absolute Green Lantern number 6. For me, this is really kind of a make it or break it issue for the series. Again, I've really been enjoying it, but kind of the overall plot, I feel like, has dragged a little more than it should have at this point by issue 6, so really hoping for good things here. Second to last book, Absolute Superman number 11. We have Brainiac on the cover, and again, Absolute Superman, I didn't see the twist, coming in last month's issue at the very end, so I'm excited to see kind of how Brainiac comes into play here with the whole Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul, and how that relationship continues on. And last but certainly not least, I realized in a recent video I said that the new Batman run was Chip Zdarsky. Oops! I forgot it's Matt Fraction! Batman number 1, Matt Fraction, and one of my favorite artists, Jorge Jimenez. Very, very excited to see what this is all about. So that's the pull for this week. I'm going to read all of these singles and come back and let you know what I think. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, just finished up Ultimate X-Men number 19. I said before that last issue seemed like the end of the last arc. This seemed like the end of that arc, honestly. With kind of the Maester kind of taking his definitive end there. But overall, I like the issue. I think, to me, the art looked a little bit different. I don't know if it's the coloring. It's still Peach Momoko, but yeah, something about it just seemed a little bit different to me, but we do get these kind of full page splashes for kind of the main characters during this battle with Surge and then the Maester. Like, this Psylocke is awesome. If Peach Momoko can do anything, geez, she can draw / paint / whatever it is that she does with this magic. Yeah, like the issue, I don't think... Again, it's weird because we don't know the state of the Ultimate Universe and what's going to change with Ultimate Endgame, with it seeming like Marvel's saying, oh, Ultimate Universe is coming to an end. So if that's the case, very odd to kind of wrap up this storyline, leave enough of a cliffhanger to start a new storyline if the book potentially may only be around for a few more issues. So not sure. If I had to give this a rating, I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5. But we'll definitely be picking up issue 20. Next up is going to be Spider-Man 94. See you in a sec. Okay, Spider-Man 94. So, this is a 4-issue miniseries that picks up directly after the cliffhanger ending of the animated series, which I haven't watched in probably 20 years. So, they do have a kind of page to help you catch up on everything that's happened. To get you up to speed, but I really wanted to like this issue more than I did. Just at the core, it seems like that the Spider Totem and Morlun, whatever, have shown up in this universe now. I really don't like the Spider Totem and Morlun aspect of Spider-Man very much, and it seems like that's going to be like kind of this whole thing. So it's a bit of a bummer for me personally. There were definitely some good moments, some good fight scenes. I don't like the way... I think that... So, let me back up. So, this is written by J.M. DeMatteis. The artist is Jim Toh. I think that Jim Toh did really well with most of the characters and their looks in the book. But you know what? I don't like the way Peter looks, which is kind of a big problem in a Spider-Man book. And there are some panels where it's just like, I don't know about that. Like what is this? What is this face? What is that face? Like, I don't know. I'm gonna put a picture up somewhere over here of what he looked like in the animated series. He was whiter. Maybe he looked a little older. They made him look younger in here. And just kind of, I don't know. Man, I don't know. You get some good, like, very early on, like a great kind of just full page splash of Spider-Man and Mary Jane, but yeah, it's, it was nice that they put in the kind of last time on Spider-Man 94, because like I said, I didn't remember much of that at all. But yeah, it's a real bummer that this is going to be more Lund related. If that was announced ahead of time, I hadn't checked it out, but Kane shows up very early on and is kind of the antagonist of this first issue. But yeah, it's overall pretty disappointed by this, to be perfectly honest. The best part about this issue, I think, is the cover. But probably give this a 2 out of 5. Maybe they can change my opinion on Morlun and all the Spider Totem stuff, but DeMatteis has to work real hard to do that, so we'll see. Like I said, it's just a 4-issue miniseries, so I'll pick up the other 3 issues, but But yeah, Spider-Man 94 in the bag. Next up is going to be Everything Dead and Dying. Just finished up Everything Dead and Dying #1, and this was great. If you don't know what it's about, basically end of the world virus scenario. I'm in the middle of reading Walking Dead right now, actually, so it's a little familiar, but takes over the world. There's a farmer in a small town in Canada who lives with his husband and his daughter, and over time the sickness kind of takes over the world, and for some reason he can't get sick. He is immune. He's been bitten, he's been scratched, sneezed on by zombies, but for some reason he just can't turn. So where this kind of deviates is, instead of the zombies necessarily being violent or him having to kind of clean up the town, anything like that, everyone who turned basically kind of relives their last X number of hours or their last day. So the zombies are going through the routine, whether it's a mother pushing a baby in a stroller, or a mailman showing up to the door. In terms of timeline, it all happens kind of the same time every day, kind of like a Groundhog Day type of situation. And that includes with our main character as well. So yeah, his name is Jack. They have this kind of ominous classic Marvel 9-panel page structure for a decent amount of the book, and it kind of goes into his backstory of how he met his husband, his daughter, but interspersed throughout the kind of backstory are these ominous panels where you're not sure what is real and what isn't necessarily for a decent amount of time. But then it turns out, here's a good example. Mailman shows up, he answers it, and then it goes back to the kitchen, which had been clean and pristine just a page or two ago, and you see it's dilapidated, it's run down. And that's kind of the tone of the book. So Jack kind of ends up taking care of the small town. He feeds the zombies, he talks with them, he maintains his routines, he watches them do their routines as well. It's a very interesting twist that I haven't seen before, but yeah, at the end of the issue things start to deviate a little bit, and then the issue ends on a cliffhanger. So this was really, really good. Even the paper feels kind of thicker, like closer to cardstock than normal kind of Big 2 paper. I'm not sure if that's an image thing or not, but yeah, I would give this probably like a 4.5 out of 5. This was really good, and the artwork was great as well. It really goes from like good-natured Americana-esque art to just very gross and disturbing art. So yeah, if you have not picked this up, you definitely should, even if you don't like zombies like me. Again, this is going to be I think a 4 or 5 issue series, so definitely check this out. Everything Dead and Dying by Tate Bromble, with art by Jacob Phillips. Kept thinking Stephanie Phillips, different person. So next up, let's see, what should I tackle next? I think next up I will do Absolute Superman #11. okay. Absolute Superman number 11. Thought this was a really solid issue. After the end of the previous issue, Lois and Jimmy and Kal-El are all taken prisoner by Lazarus, and a lot of this issue is Brainiac kind of digging his way into Kal-El's brain and forcing him to relive his life, but basically change it so that he is constantly killing everyone in his life, whether that's on Krypton, whether that is in Kansas, wherever it may be, to try and basically brainwash him into becoming a killer, which is what Ra's al Ghul wants from him. Basically, Ra's wants to cull the population of the Earth by a few billion people to make it a paradise. So a lot of this book is taking place in Kal-El's head, and then toward the end, Jimmy and Lois are still trapped, and Lois's dad, General Lane, shows up, busts them out, and they go to try and free Kal-El. So yeah, I think it was a solid issue. I'm excited to see what issue 12 ends up being like, because of the kind of brainwashing that happened throughout this one and the way it left off. There could be characters who are dead at the end of this that weren't at the beginning. So yeah, I'd probably give this maybe like a 3.5 out of 5 probably. I enjoyed it for sure. Next up is the make or break, Absolute Green Lantern number 6. Fingers crossed. Al Ewing did it. This is probably the best issue of Absolute Green Lantern so far. We get some insight into the kind of light spectrum itself. So there are not separate lights, like separate light spectrums. So green is not separate from yellow, is not separate from red. It's all on one continuum. But there's 4 levels in terms of power of light. There's you can see on this page, and I'm not going to get pronunciations right, so just deal with that. QARD card is the lowest, which is the kind of black hand that Hal's been dealing with. Rao, red, is the next up. Sur, green, and then the highest level is AUR, or like aura, I think, which is yellow. So everyone from Evergreen who was killed is still alive, I think, just within the lantern. You can see that Guy Gardner becomes a Red Lantern, but whether or not that's the same function as a Red Lantern from the main continuity, I don't think it is, because it's just the second level of power of light with Rao. So the big kind of thing is that the black hand, and at the beginning of the last at least 2 issues, the first page is just this circle, this void, like the shadow of a planet, and it is revealed that it's tied to the black hand that Hal has, and it's Mogo, which was a great reveal. Man, yeah, this issue was great. Kind of a brief spoiler toward the middle to end of the issue. When they're inside the lantern, John basically has become kind of like a conduit of the the potential lanterns. So he knows kind of the rules of everything that's going on. But Jo doesn't. She just wants to save her friends. So she basically reaches out to Hal, and Hal, John, and Guy are all basically kind of floating in this void, just talking with each other. And basically Jo's like, I don't know the rules, John, so I don't know, so I can break them because I don't really know what the deal is here. So Jo's like, Hal, give me your hand, and I'm basically going to get the Black Hand out of you, so you don't have to deal with this anymore. And you end up with this beautiful, almost full-page splash of Jo thrusting the Black Hand out of Hal. So, yeah, this was a great issue. This was a great issue. We get introduced to Jo's ex-wife, Cam Chase, who is also an FBI agent in the main continuity. And toward the end of the issue, we also get introduced to this universe's Simon Baz, who just seems like a guy right now, but who knows if that'll change. So, yeah, this is exactly what I was hoping for this issue. I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5. Really excited to see how this continues. Janoy Lindsay is the artist and colorist, and I think that they just did a phenomenal job this issue. The light effect is just, again, this page is just so perfect and beautiful. So, very happy. I'm very happy about that. So one comic left, and it is, of course, Batman #1, Matt Fraction, Jorge Jimenez. Let's hope it lives up to the hype. Okay, Batman #1, Matt Fraction, Jorge Jimenez. What a great start to a new run. If you didn't follow the last Batman run, you may be a little lost with some things at the beginning, but you'll catch up pretty quickly, and I'm saying that as someone who did not read the last run and was a little lost at the beginning, but got caught up pretty quickly. Commissioner Gordon is no longer commissioner. He has been demoted to like a beat cop. Vandal Savage is the commissioner of the Gotham City PD now, which is crazy. And Alfred is dead. So I feel like those are the big 3 baselines you need going into this. But it was kind of an unexpected approach, to be honest, to the kind of first story here. It starts with basically Killer Croc breaking out of kind of a medical Arkham facility. He escapes, Batman chases after him, and kind of the big climax of the issue, just this panel by Jorge Jimenez, is just so cool. There's a big focus on gadgets. All of the gadgets kind of have the little box in the corner with the specs of them. Shout out to Tomeu Mori, the colorist, because that blue is just perfect. But yeah, Batman's getting ready to throw down with Croc, and then Croc just says, "You're bad, please leave." So Batman puts away the fists and sits down and just kind of talks to him. And it's obvious that there's some genetic issue regressing his mind, Killer Croc's mind, into a much more kind of baseline, feral, kind of basic, like caveman sounding state, where he says things like, "Me head new, but bad now, lost. You head need, or you head new now." Stuff like that. And Batman just sits down, takes down the cowl, and just kind of talks to him, and calms him down until the Arkham medical staff come back and collect him. And it was very interesting. I I haven't read Batman for a long time, so maybe I was just expecting for the first issue of a new run to have a lot more fighting in it, but I'm really happy with how that was approached. It makes me excited moving forward just because it's completely different than what I would expect. And then with the final page, I mean, my boy is back. Tim Drake, my favorite Robin, is back, and I can't be more excited about that. So, yeah, super solid. I'd probably give this like a 4 out of 5. Very solid opening issue. I mean, look at that double page spread for the title page by Jorge. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. Yeah, this was fantastic. So, wrap things up. I will give my rankings of the issues that I read. So, and the number ratings I give at the end of each issue don't necessarily result in how much I like them in terms of rating them. There might be some things that I think might technically be worse, but I really just like them. So the number ratings are just kind of for fun. At the bottom, I think it's pretty obvious. Spider-Man 94. Not happy they're going with the Spider Totem, Morlun angle, and the artwork is a little bit off-putting, and it's one of those things where if you're adapting like animation into a comic book, the template is there to just kind of recreate it, but yeah, I don't know, Peter just looks off. So that's last place. Next is probably Ultimate X-Men, which again I really liked. Just again, it seemed like kind of the actual ending of this arc, and just not knowing how much longer the Ultimate Universe is going to be a thing kind of brings it down for me a little bit, just because I'm a little bummed out by it. But next up, Absolute Superman. Solid issue, but just it was a strong week. So Absolute Superman goes there, and then for the top 3 this week, how am I going to do this? In third place is probably Batman #1. Again, there's only so much that can be done in an introductory issue to a run, but I think it's pretty close to perfect for what it's trying to do, and I can't be more excited to continue this series. Number 2 is Absolute Green Lantern. This is what I've been waiting for. Just some more clarity and explanations about the light spectrum in this absolute universe, how it all works, the hierarchy of it. Granted, in the overall plot, didn't necessarily move forward a ton. Like Hector Hammond is still there in the background, still just being the world's biggest jerk. But there are so many more hooks now for me personally with kind of the additional world building that Al Ewing did in this, so very excited. And then number 1 this week, Everything Dead and Dying. It's a great start for me for my first Image ongoing series, or not ongoing, it's a limited series, but current series, I guess. Yeah, this was phenomenal, from the artwork to the storytelling. Definitely pulled at the heartstrings a little bit as a father myself, and it was just beautiful to look at as well. So very, very excited for the next issue of this to come out. And that is it for my pulls this week. For next week, just as a preview of what I will be pulling, next week, Absolute Batman #12. We have Captain America #3. We have Red Coat #14. So if you didn't see it already in my August recap video, I talked about how I started to get into the Ghost Machine imprint of Image. So I'll be picking up Red Coat 14, but I'll need to read 1 through 13 prior to that because I haven't quite got caught up, but I do want to start collecting the singles. Probably my early pick of the week is Superman the Kryptonite Spectre #2. I loved that first issue so much, and the approach of these new forms of kryptonite, not knowing what they do, creates just so many storytelling opportunities that I can't wait. Transformers number 24, the final issue for Daniel Warren Johnson. I will be collecting that, stashing it to the side until I can get caught up again in my August recap. If you didn't see it, I read the first trade of his Transformers run and really liked it, but I obviously have a lot to catch up on before I read that final issue before Robert Kirkman and Dan Mora take over in issue 25 next month. And then I have Transformers number 24. Nope, sorry. It's, for some reason, on League of Comic Geeks, it has both the regular and variant covers pulled, so it's listed twice. Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion number 4. That is coming out next week as well. I feel like I'm in the minority, but I've actually liked the Incursion series so far. I really liked the third issue. Right there. Was a lot of that just seeing the Ultimate X-Men in a more traditional art style? Yeah, but I mean, I love Miles, so it's hard to go wrong. And then the last thing is Valiant Beyond, All New Harbinger number 1. I haven't talked about Valiant Comics so far on my channel, but if you're familiar with them, these are all Valiant Deluxe editions of the kind of reboot that they did back in 2012, which is incredible. I love those books so much, and Valiant has not been the same since probably 2014, 2015, and I've completely fallen off, but I'm willing to give a couple of these new series a shot, see what happens. So yeah, that is the pull list for next week. I also am going to pull the trade of Black Canary Best of the Best by Tom King, because I actually really liked that story. But with all of that being said, thank you so much. Let me know what your pick of the week is down below. Let me know any recommendations of stuff I didn't read that you would highly recommend. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. It would mean a lot if you could just click the like button, subscribe, and check out some of my other videos. But other than that, thank you for your time, and yeah, I'll be talking to you very soon. Thanks.